So the Lakers have 7 games left, 5 on the road, lost at home to the Chicago Bulls yesterday. Give Chicago credit. They shot really, really well. It was just one of those games where they shot really well. So let's keep it real with the Lakers. Okay, they're not going to win a championship. Teams in March that are under 500, are not going to win the championship. Get over it. They're not beating Milwaukee or Boston or a Philly or a Denver probably. Let's get over it. But that doesn't mean there's not value. Job number 1 in these remaining games, showcase Anthony Davis. You can call it the play-in tournament. Knock yourself out. I'm going to call it the AD showcase. Dallas now has a Luka problem. AD could solve it. He defends. Warriors lack size in the front court, not getting any scoring from their bigs. Celtics, Giannis, how do we defend him? Come up short again. Knicks found their star point guard. Like Julius Randle a lot. You're not winning a championship if he's your 2. Holding on to hopes that Anthony Davis is the answer is ridiculous. You cannot team him at this point with his body with an old guy that misses games. AD needs to be teamed with a young guy that is overwhelmingly healthy. So LeBron and AD were a very good pairing for about 2 years, but they have quickly become a bad pairing. Because of his physical inconsistency, LeBron's not available for 30, 40 games, and AD's not available for 25 to 30. So you've got to team him with young, healthy stars, and he can add tremendous value. We saw this with the Rams. They brought in Matt Stafford. It looked like it was brilliant for a year. But Stafford's not mobile. He'd always been beat up a little behind bad offensive lines, and then the Rams' offensive line fell apart, don't have a lot of depth, and suddenly Stafford to the Rams is not a great pairing now. They need a quarterback who's younger that can move. This happens to businesses all the time. It feels great until it doesn't. And AD and LeBron doesn't work. AD has to be connected to a younger star that is consistently available to play. So you can call it the play-in tournament. You got to showcase him. You got to put him out there, let him score. Austin Reeves is a wonderful story. I love the Austin Reeves story. Anthony Davis is a really cool trade package. Celtics, if they don't have an answer for Embiid and Giannis and Robert Williams, Robert Williams gets hurt, AD gets hurt. AD gives you a ton on the offensive end. I think if the Celtics lose again and they can't, and Robert Williams is not available, they're going to make a move. Can't keep running the same thing back. Marcus Smart's getting older. Robert Williams can't stay healthy. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown maybe need a third. Maybe you have to move Jaylen Brown. I'll say it again. Warriors are getting no scoring from their front court. If they get rolled by Jokic in the playoffs, they need size. They don't need it every night. They just need it in big games in the playoffs. You go get AD. Luka now doesn't defend. They need somebody who doesn't need the ball, who can defend and drop 28. That's Anthony Davis. Austin Reeves is a wonderful story. AD's a wonderful player. So top 6 or 7 players when he's healthy. Let's not get caught up in all this. We're going to win a championship. Stop. Go look at NBA history. Teams under 500 in late March don't win the title. It's not going to win a championship. Even if they got in the play-in tournament and had a Denver first round and then had to go, they're not going to roll through Denver and it goes 7 games. You think you're going to get LeBron and AD in another 7-gamer after that? They're not good enough to sweep teams. They're not Milwaukee, right? This team's not going to roll through teams in the playoffs. They're going to be 6 and 7 game series, one after another, after another, after another. You're not winning 4 and 5 series. It isn't 4 series. You're not going 6 and 7 for all of them. Get out of that space. Seek value with AD. I think he's got it. My big takeaway from the NCAA tournament. So I've told my wife this for years, is that I don't want to, go to Palm Springs, play golf, and get old fast. I want to be around young people. So I've said I'd like to retire at least part of the year in a ski town. Young people, they party, they ski, it's fun, it's active, there's hiking, biking. I don't want to be around a bunch of old people complaining about their taxes. That's not how I want to age. I want to have some juice, some energy, and I think hanging around young people keeps you young. So Jim Larrañaga is 73, and he's in the Final Four. He's been around forever, but he was one of those guys that embraced the NIL immediately. Nick Saban embraced it. He's 71 years old. Both college coaches around young people. Meanwhile, you've got Greg Popovich, who still won't embrace the three-point shot in his 70s. And from what I can tell, Bill Belichick is completely tone deaf to offense. When you hang around as a pro coach, you hang around an older owner and executives, and the players are older. And that's not to say Andy Reid hasn't hit it out of the park, but I think Pete Carroll was starting to feel old. They traded Russell Wilson. They hit on a bunch of draft picks. Seattle now is a younger team, and Pete feels younger. Age is not like an issue anymore with Pete. Hang around young people. It'll keep you young. It'll keep you relevant. But that's what my takeaway is in this college environment. It forces Saban, whether it's the kids' music, their language, their sayings, their terms, their tech, their friends, what they're eating. You hang around young people, it keeps you young. And I think Saban and Larrañaga are just two of many. I mean, to the very end, Coach K in his mid-70s, relevant. Roy Williams to the end at 70, relevant. Popovich still won't embrace the three. He's hanging around older guys. He falls in love with his culture, his ideas. And so I don't know if Miami's going to win it. I will say this. I thought they were the second best team on the floor for most of it. I'm not going to entirely blame the refs. I do think Larrañaga is a really good coach, but I love what he's done at Miami. I think he's fantastic. I don't think the Final Four is going to be the most riveting Final Four of my life. I do think the officials drove everybody crazy over the weekend. But I will say this. You know how you can kind of see certain things coming? Like, you know, whether it's politics or whether it's tech. I told friends this years ago. I said, for years and years, we know that England's highly educated in Europe and their educational system. They speak multiple languages, the French school system. It's not that Europe's not educated, probably more educated than us, but their fans are crazy. They're nuts. You hear the term soccer hooligans, right? You're like, why are they so nuts? Some of it is, and I love gambling, sports gambling. Once there's gambling, when fans pour on the field, who do they go after? They go after the refs. And I said this to a friend a couple years ago. I am a huge advocate of sports gambling. It's got a 1% disorder rate. Alcohol's got 6.5%. The average bet by the average American sports fan is $4. Go ask FanDuel and DraftKings. It's $4. You know, most people have it under control. You and I have it under control. Most people do. But I told a friend years ago, I said, with legalized sports gambling, the officials are going to get more crap, and fans will now solely blame officials because now you're losing money, not just your team losing. And as we have this rollout in legalized gambling, which I'm for, Supreme Court said you can gamble. It's rolling across the nation. I don't know how many's legal in 30 states now. It'll eventually probably be 45. I have noticed in the last year, every loss is the refs. It used to be, I mean, everything now. Bottom line is Texas is not a great college basketball team. Every one of these teams, except UConn, is good. How many NBA guys are playing this weekend? I mean, it's these teams they're not great. Very diluted, a lot of chemistry, transfer portal. It's average. It's not a great year. Now, Duke, Kentucky next year, both bringing in like 4 or 5-star guys, could be very, very good. Very young, very good. But, you know, this weekend, I made this prediction. I said, you go watch Europe, who's been way ahead of us on legalized gambling. You watch. Every loss now is the officials. My entire life, there's go-either-way calls. The San Diego State foul, it's a go-either-way call. But the immediate, it wasn't the player, it's the refs. So I think that's here to stay. These are not great teams. UConn's the best, I think, by a notch. And I said this last week. I said UConn's going to beat Gonzaga. UConn, I think, is the best team in this thing. They're kind of working team. They're getting ahead of teams fast. Good coaching. They have a dominant big. They have a lot of depth. I mean, UConn's really a good basketball team. Really good. They're not great. They're not the Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, Grant Hill team. They're not a Georgetown championship team. It's not like they have Worthy and Jordan with North Carolina. These teams are not great. The two sports in my life that have gotten worse, boxing, there's too many other ways to make money. The boxing divisions aren't nearly as good as they used to be. There's just too many ways to make money without getting your head beat in. And the second thing is college basketball, where guys like Ewing and Tim Duncan would come back for 3 and 4 years. Now, if you're good, you're out. So these teams are not good enough to overcome mistakes and missed free throws. They're just not. They're all pretty good. They're pretty good.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.